Ni är hjärtligt välkomna till årets första onlineprovning och Tryffelsvinets, jag tror vi räknade till 22 i ordningen, så att vi börjar väl nästan bli varma i kläderna. Vi är ju superglada att få börja året med en så fantastisk provning som vi har idag, dessutom med vinmakaren med själv på länk. Vi kommer be oss till Portugal idag och en vinmakare som vi har jobbat med sedan i höstas ungefär. Och när vi presenterade hans viner första gången så sa det bara slurp och sen tog allt slut och sen så har vi fått liksom vänta och i samma sekund som vi fick höra att vi skulle kunna få in mer så sa vi men vi bjuder hit, eller ja hit så gott det går i dessa tider, men vi bjuder in Luís att han själv får berätta om sina fantastiska viner, för det här, mina vänner, är en visionär i ordets absolut rätta bemärkelse, för ja, han kommer få berätta själv om hur han har byggt sin vingård helt enkelt. Så ja, som sagt, det är jag som är Anna och vid min sida har jag Nikita. Vi är ju verkligen andra fioler idag, så att jag tänker att vi drar igång helt enkelt och hälsar välkomna. So without further ado, we would like to say welcome to Luís Pato, all the way from Portugal. How are you? What's happening right now in your vineyards?
Now, I am not in vineyards because I have a slight flu that is affecting my voice, and today is my birthday.
Really?
So it's my birthday. That is the reason because we delay a little bit the conversation because we need to keep better, to explain you the best possible for what we did during these 74 years. No, not 74 years, but this last 42 years, because I started to do wine as a hobby in 1980, and after that I improved the most possible, doing experiments, doing different, but keeping the tradition. What is tradition in Bairrada? My region is Bairrada, is in the north side of Portugal, very close with the ocean. And very close with the ocean, this is very important to tell you why you can, for example, why you can drink this white wine with this natural acidity. It's not acidified. Because we have a cool climate, the ocean, to give you a small difference of climates. Imagine that you are in Bordeaux or you are in Bairrada. The most ones are 20 kilometers far from the ocean. The same ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. What is the difference? Of course, the grapes. In Bordeaux, there are no bagger yet. No, never will, never bagger, because it's dangerous as it is Pinot Noir. You don't find Pinot Noir too there. In Bordeaux, you have hot water in the ocean because comes the Gulf Stream that comes from Mexico. You have 24 degrees there. When here we have 16 degrees. 16 degrees. This means that we have cooler nights than in Bordeaux. Now, this is the first approach to what is the influence of the climate in our vineyards, in our wines, especially in our wines. We keep the natural seed. This is very important for us. And you can tell me, but how you are in the wine business? I am in the wine business because it's a heritage. I knew my grandfather, but before my grandfather, that was in the first Great War in France, there were wine production in our vineyards. It's traditional. In the south of Europe was normal tradition. We are the same thing as the French, as Spanish, as Italian, as the the Greek also. And so this was a tradition. And when I was the only child from my parents, and after the training that I finished in Lisbon, but I passed through other.
Which wasn't trained to be a winemaker, right?
No. I was a chemical engineer. I was trained chemical engineer. But I learned a lot of chemistry in Coimbra before to go to Lisbon, because my time of engineering was 6 years. My year finished with 6 years of course of training. 3 years as with the basic that I did in Coimbra. After I need to move to Lisbon or to Porto, and I moved to Lisbon, and I finished in Lisbon. After this, Portugal was in the war, and I was obliged to go to the war. I was a boy. I went to the Navy, and I spent 30 months in the Navy in Africa, and I finished in Lisbon exactly after the revolution. I arrived 2 days before the revolution in Portugal. So I am a guy from the revolution. No, I'm not a guy from. I am a guy from the revolution in winemaking. And after I worked in ceramic, we had problems with the partners from ceramic, because my wife was one of the partners, the biggest partner, but had not enough power to decide. I moved to the wine business. I started to do the first red wine as hobby in 80. Still alive. To give you an idea how Baga is, can age for a long time.
I've heard that if you want to buy them in an auction, they are really expensive, your first Baga wines, right?
Yeah. And after this, I moved to the wine business. I started to plant vineyards, to change the production to what I believe that was the best, because when we have vineyards by heritage, we need to use what we had, what we found in the vineyards. But during my time, I studied which was the best places for different grape varieties. And now I can tell you which are the best grapes on each different soil or so. Sandy soil, because here we have 2 kinds of soils, sandy soil and chalky clay soil. Chalky clay soil supplies us the Burgundy, the Barolo, Brunello, Macedonia, Chinomavro, for example, in Greece, and maybe sometimes even Pinot Noir. I don't tell you that Pinot Noir is the Nebbiolo that went to Burgundy, but I believe on it. Once I can explain you my theory about it. And I discovered, for example, that Baga on sandy soil is terrible. On chalky clay soil is not terrible. Why is not terrible? Because we have one of the big problems for winemaking is the rain during the harvest, especially for grape variety that is a red grape variety, Baga, with a thin skin, as Pinot, as Nebbiolo, as Sangiovese Grosso. So if the rain comes during the harvest, the vine is in hydric stress. So a small quantity of water is drunk immediately by the vine, improves the size of the berry, breaks the berry, the skin, botrytis inside. You understand? On sandy soil. But on chalky clay soil, they are also on hydric stress. But the water only arrives to the roots 1 week later. This is the big difference, because I have Baga mainly on chalky clay soil.
But do you think that your background as a chemical engineer has helped you in understanding which type of soil should be for which grape variety, you think?
Of course, Anna. This is a very good question. Why? Because one of the secrets from our high acidity on white wines or sparkling is the influence of cool climate, as I explained to you before, but also sandy soil. The same grape variety on sandy soil or on chalky clay soil, same region, in the case of Bairrada, is very different from one place to the other. I can tell you one fantastic story. I have two wines from Baga. They are my fantasy, my craziness. From Baga, planted and grafted, what the British describe as prephylloxeric vines. No American roots. What I discovered, I have one on sandy soil and another one on chalky clay soil. The wines are totally different. 8 kilometers distant one from the other, same region, same winemaking, not exact same winemaking, because on sandy soil I need to use new oak, 2 years of new oak as in Bordeaux. On chalky clay soil, no new oak as in Burgundy. It's funny, eh? It's fantastic. But this I discovered trying. I am also that winemaker. I am learning with what I want to do. Of course, sometimes I take a lot of risks, but I have an advantage. I am the owner, I can take the risk. But as I am the owner, I can do bad things.
Of course. And you've had 42 vintages to learn. Are you close to perfection now?
Yes, of course. Of course. I have a wine cellar, our wine library, that when you visit us, you can pick one bottle from 88 or from 85 or from 84 or from 80 or red, or a white from 91 or even 87, no problem. Because the wines from Bairrada are wines that you can drink immediately, or you can drink very long term. The taster from Parker, Max Wise, once with me 3 years ago, of course, now with the COVID, forget, and told me, you are doing the bag of wines so soft, they can't age so long time as before. And my answer was, Mark, maybe. The old wines could age for at least 40 years. Yeah. This maybe 30 years. I tell you one thing, for me it's enough.
That's fair enough, probably enough. But I read that you have about 65 hectares of vine. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah?
And how many different varieties?
Oh, I tell you. Sorry. Reds, we have Baga, mainly Baga, and we have Touriga Nacional for entry level. Why? Because Baga to produce good, to produce great, needs to be reduced the crop. So cannot be a wine for entry level. But Touriga is not the case. The other one on reds, on whites. We have one that is named Maria Gomes. Is our homage to the women now. Now the old vineyard was owned by Mrs. Maria Gomes. That is the reason, because it has the name of Maria Gomes. We have also Bical, that is very characteristic from Bairrada. That is because the berry is sharp shaped. Bical means sharp shape. You see the people in the agriculture was looking the morphology of the grapes, the berries, and sometimes were supplying the name for this reason. The other one is named Bairrada Social. That is different from Madeira Social and is different from Dão and Douro Social. Is very unique. It is very, very interesting. And to the final one is the grape variety named Cercialinho that you can see on the label of Vinhas Velhas White, that was planted by my father on the 60s from last century, because it was an artificial made grape variety. And what I can tell you, we are the biggest world producers of that grape variety because it only exists in Bairrada, of course. But is the during a long time, that is the reason because it appears in Vinhas Velhas White. I was using it to acidify the blend, because this is another thing. As I was trained chemical engineer, I use no chemicals. I use less chemicals that I can. Sometimes even I don't use sulfites, to give you an idea. Even sulfites. Sulfites for sparkling is very easy. For sparkling is very, very, very easy. I believe also for the ones too, but we need to try. That is the reason because I'm trying every time, and we do wines without sulfites, even whites and reds, even reds. But it's more dangerous. There are risks. Sparkling, no danger. Sparkling, no danger. So, but this is to tell you that I try to do the most natural possible. But I don't tell you that I do natural wines. I do minimal intervention wines. That is more correct to me and for you.
But you have always been a visionary in that sense. You were one of the first to bottle old vineyards separately, and you were one of the first to make red wine from white grapes, as I've understood. So you've always had that philosophy of pushing the boundaries, right, and making the grapes speak.
No, we need to distinguish two things. Why I named Vinhas Velhas on 1988. 88 was the first vintage that I did Vinhas Velhas. Because a Portuguese journalist came here, tasted the wine and told me, you don't blend this wine with the other one from the same vintage. Okay, is that. You name it, old vines. And because at that time, 88, old vines was meaning nothing for the Portuguese. For the Portuguese, you understand? No. But at that time, nothing. It was strange to put old vines on the label. What is means? What is the advantage of this wine? Now they know that old vines produce less. They can concentrate a little bit more. They can supply more complexity to the wine. So you know. But at that time I was always against the rules, against the rule. The other thing is the other one to do a red from white grape is different. Is
just a quick question: how old are the old vines now?
Now 35 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. But 35 years old, but I do a reduction of the crop because one of the things that I do that was strange for my neighbors, I started on 1990, is to do green harvest. And since 2001, I do 2 pickings on same vine at 2 different times. First picking at the end of August, beginning of September, when the vines are, when the grapes are ripe for sparkling. Very green for red, but ripe for sparkling. With this process, I reduce the quantity that I leave on the vine, and the left bunches can achieve a better polyphenolic ripeness, soften the tannins. So I use 35 years old, but also I control the yield at 40 photons per hectare. Photons per hectare. About the red from white grape, I have another idea. I have six grandchildren, and when one grandchild is born, from this vintage I do something that is not written on the books. For my first grandson, Francisco, 13 years old, no, I did what I did. I did a dessert wine, early picked. What is the dessert wine early picked? Is the juice from the base wine for sparkling, from first picking, concentrated with cryoextraction, meaning I freeze the juice twice to take off water. So you have a huge acidity and sugar. And after I do the interruption of fermentation with sulfur and filtration. Okay, and cold. The second grandson.
Sorry, did Franco, does he appreciate the wine?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Yes. Oh, for
it's hard work. I mean, he should at least appreciate it.
No, I can tell you, you are from Sweden, and I can tell you that he drinks a drop, just a drop.
Just a drop, yeah.
Just a drop. And this from back. The second one, the parents gave him the name of Francisco. Fernão. One of my family names is Pires. Not only Pato, but Pires. Pires was from my grandmother, the mother from my father. And in Portugal, the Maria Gomes grape in Bairrada is named outside of Bairrada Fernão Pires. And I did a joke. I did a wine to celebrate the birthday from Fernão, from his grandfather Pires, a Fernão Pires. But Fernão Pires is a white grape. I couldn't do a white wine. So I joined 6% of red skins from bag, of course, to paint the blend. But as I used only 6%, quite far from 15% for European rule, I used two grape varieties, but one before the limit of 15%, because just the skins to paint. For enologists, this is considered a faulty white wine. Okay, and for those I did a lot of things. The last one, really I tell you only the last one. Last one was Julia, that was born on September, and I did what I did to her. I did a sparkling wine from Cercialinho, because her mother will heritate Quinta do Ribeirinho, where my father planted Cercialinho, and I picked with 13.5 total potential alcohol. I fermented with, I added, I clarified with oxygen. I did hyperoxygenation. Why? To avoid the use of sulfites. Okay. Because when you oxidize everything, it's not necessary to use sulfite to avoid the oxidation. You see here the logic of a chemical guy. and I put in fermentation in a tank for white wine. When it achieved 10.6, I put inside a bottle, a sparkling bottle. And when it achieved 5 atmospheres of pressure, I interrupt the fermentation inside the bottle. So will be a sparkling wine with only one fermentation.
Wow.
Only one fermentation. With and these are localis. Is my interpretation of what is, I consider, a natural sparkling wine or a minimum intervention sparkling wine. Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like you're very experimental and a very nice grandfather.
Absolutely.
Also giving this gift to grandchildren.
Yeah.
But we are very interested in starting to taste your wines now, because you've been talking so much about your wines. I'm getting thirsty. So I think we should taste the first wine, the white wine. We have the 2020 Vinhas Velhas Branco. It's 50% Bical, 25% Cercial, and 25% Cercialino, right?
Exactly.
Can you tell us a bit about this wine? How it's made?
This wine is a wine fermented in stainless steel, no oak at all, zero oak, and is a blend of grapes that is fermented together. Co-fermentation, that is very important, to then have one over the other one, and is from two different soils. Bical is from chalky clay soil that supplies some smokiness that you can find in the wine.
Mm-hmm.
Remembers a little bit Chablis. No, it remembers the soil from Chablis, from Bairrada, from chalky clay soil. You understand? Even now in England, for champagne, British champagne, and sandy soil, Cercial and Cercialino, because Cercialino is only good on sandy soil. You see, we come back again. Baga is fantastic on the best is on chalky clay soil. Cercialino, the best is on sandy soil. For me, Maria Gomes, the best is also on sandy soil. But that is the reason, because I kept this long time to understand which was better for this kind or the other kind of soil. Because all these grape varieties are originated in Bairrada. Toriga is from down, that is our neighbor, but was traditional in. There were also a few in Bairrada. It was not so common as the other. The other ones are typical Bairrada grape varieties.
But do you inoculate?
It's another good question. Because I have so many things to tell you. I tell you, this inoculation was made with yeast that came from Pied de Cuvée, to speak in French, a little bit, Pied de Cuvée, from a vineyard named Formal. We have Cercial on Formal, and we picked 1 week before the harvest, we picked some bunches, and we put with aeration to improve the quantity of yeast, and the normal process.
Yeah.
To prepare a Pied de Cuvée, Pé de Cuba, as we say in Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
To when arrive when start to arrive the white wines, we use this yeast in the plant. We use local yeast. I am clear with you. I use this yeast only since 2018.
Okay.
On reds, I never used other yeast than the yeast that come with the grapes. But because in 2018, I did a white wine through it from another granddaughter. And what was the idea? White wine with no sulfites, no chaptalization, with no, nothing. Pure. But I need to use natural yeast from the place. And when I use this yeast for this wine and for other wines, I discovered that this yeast were much better than this that I was buying. Oh, what is this? So stupid that I was. You understand? So that is the evolution, it's normal evolution.
So this, you can say, is really the essence of Bairrada, because you have the local grape varieties, you have the sandy soils, you have the chalky soils, and this is this is like the essence of the region for the whites, would you say?
Yes, it's poor because there are no wood, there are no intervention of food. Is to be flavored, and if someone forgets it for 20 years and discovers in their wine cell, oh, this is not good, will be surprised. We have wine, Vinhas Velhas white wine from 91 that we sold, was fantastic for us in a Bordeaux shaped bottle that was at that time was the norm, that put our food in top Basque restaurants, Bairrada, Arzumendi, and another one, 2 stars Michelin.
But you said it's aged for 20 years, this wine?
Without any problem.
Wow.
No, Anna, I can't tell you what I think, because the people that is looking this say that he's not a good business guy. This wine, for me, for my taste, is better with 4 years after the vintage.
4 years, yeah. Okay.
For me,
yeah.
Because I like wines that change from the primary flavors that you find now to the secondary flavor. Because this wine, when starts to show the secondary flavors, the people that doesn't know anything about Bairrada says, but this is Alsace wine. No, it's not Alsace wine. Because it smells like a Riesling, and there's no Riesling on it. No Riesling on it.
But it has this really nice creamy texture to it. We was discussing it before. It has this really nice acidity and almost like a salinity, saltiness, and very, very fresh and pure, and it's very impressive, this wine, I would say.
Yeah, we were asking ourselves, do you perhaps keep it on the lease?
Yes, but not during too much time. You need to understand that we are close to the ocean. But for example, the part that I add chalky clay soil supplies more body. Bical is a grape variety that loses acidity very, very easily, but as a huge one. Cercial does lose acidity, but it's more thin.
Right.
And Cercial is thinner with a huge acidity. And the blend, and when you ferment together, they combine with they marry all the grape varieties, and the wine does much more, but better. Does better. And this wine is inexpensive. I remember that a long time ago, Jessie was writing on Financial Times on her website, saying how this wine is so cheap, because she was comparing with the wines with same quality.
She said very many nice things about you.
Yes, she's very kind with me. She is very kind with me.
But you were talking about Alsace Riesling. I would like to also throw in Chenin from the Loire into the mix, because of that like waxy bodiness and that like super high acidity. For me, in terms of aromas, it's a lot of lime and citrus, green apples. It has that kind of herby waxiness that's really nice. And then on the high notes, it has some of those lovely white flowers. And then that super nice freshness and this creaminess in the end. For me, it's a very nice blend. Of course, it's difficult with all the Portuguese grape varieties. It's tough because it's not that often we have a chance to taste them individually, but in terms of this being, it's a very well composed blend. I must say that, I think.
And I think together with Swedish food, this is a perfect food wine, because we have all this nice, I can imagine that you have in Bairrada too, but all this nice seafood. So this for me would be the perfect wine for shellfish and fish in general. So it's really nice. wine together with a lot of food, I would say.
What kind of Portuguese wine would you pair with food? What kind of Portuguese food would you pair with this wine?
Mainly seafood.
Yeah.
And shellfish, or sushi.
Sushi.
Yeah, also very
yes,
nice.
Yes, that's a good suggestion.
I sell well in Japan because that. Because
Okay.
as a seed, you need a seed and somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
To match with ginger and the saltiness from the soya sauce.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Really, really nice.
Yeah.
So should we go on to the red wine, which is the Baga? We've been talking a lot about Baga now. And speaking of Jancis Robinson, I believe she called you the Baga champion of the world, right? At some point. So this is a speciality.
You know, Jessie is very kind with me because she understood that I was a crazy guy, an open-minded guy. I remember that once on 2000 or something, she tasted a lot of my wines, and at the end, so the article was starting with Luís Pato as Angelo Gaia left the original indications. I didn't know that Angelo Gaia had left. I moved on the labels, the Bairrada to Beira, that was a generic region, because I was in the war against the Portuguese government. So, and she likes that kind of thing, you know. And this was very, very helpful for us. Even my daughter did a movie, a small movie with this history of my 40 years in winemaking, and she did a speech there. And I didn't know when I thought, oh, my God. We have a very good relationship with Jancis. Respect.
What was the war about?
At that time, the Prime Minister was my colleague in Lisbon, imagine. But he was not a guilty guy. Now he's the United Nations Secretary, and the parties in Portugal, in Sweden, this is not possible, but in Portugal, it's necessary to have cards from the party to have jobs. Something that he named during the elections, no more jobs for the boys. And this was a job for the boys. And to show my yellow card to the government, I moved from one side to the other. The power thought, it's not possible. He can't change because he loses business. When they saw that I was not losing business, they understood that I had reason, you know. But okay. And after that, the state secretary, we had a very good relationship, but after this, much better relationship. Because sometimes it's necessary to beat the power to have agreement with him.
For sure, of course, yeah. So Baga, as I understand, is, if you translate the word Baga, it means berry. Is that
exactly? Yeah? Exactly. Baga means berry.
And it's a very thin-skinned grape variety, right?
Baga, Anna, I tell you my idea.
Yeah.
Maybe 3,000 years ago, to then go longer, there were one grape variety that now you name as Nebbiolo in Barolo, Sangiovese Grosso in Brunello, Chino Madro in Greece, Baga in Bairrada, and Pinot Noir. Because Pinot Noir was the Nebbiolo adopted by the monks to turn ripe in 90 days. 90 days. We turn ripe in 110 days in Barolo too.
Really, 110?
Yes. Yes, we have time.
Yeah.
Our climate conditions
when do you usually harvest Baga then?
Now we have the the flowering is usually at the end of May, or middle of May, end of May, and you pick at the third week of September. Sometimes you have even more. 2000 vintage, 2020 vintage was longer. And that is the reason because they are different one from the others, because they were fermented by the climate and by the place, by the people, by the people. Sometimes can remember you this or that or so, but it's not this or the other one. It's not to say that it's a copy from Nebbiolo or from Pinot. No, it's different. It's different, but has same origin. Yeah. Because at the beginning was only one grape variety. So,
where do you think it began? Like where did it come from?
I believe that this came from Burgundy. It's funny. Why? Because our first king was son from a Burgundian count in 12th century. This was on 12th century. And our king asked the Cistercian monks to come to Portugal to teach agriculture. The Benedictines, that you can find some monasteries. And at that time, the capital was very close with me, was Coimbra. Coimbra was the first capital of Portugal, or at least where the king was living. You can choose. Maybe they picked some stems from there, because you know the monks needed wine to celebrate the mass, and they planted here. Maybe before to be named Pinot Noir in Burgundy. Maybe before the great selection of Pinot Noir, because when they did, to give you an idea, when they give the selection of the vines to achieve the ripeness on 90 days, when you move now Pinot to hotter climates, usually it's a disaster. Understand? So think about.
No, but I think it definitely could. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah,
they're not that unlike, all of those grape varieties, and especially with age, they grow more and more the same.
Usually, the bagger passes for several flavors.
Yeah.
Now, maybe this one, maybe now it's more Barolo.
Yep.
With 15 years, will be more Sangiovese Grosso. With 25 years, will be more Pinot. Nose. And the tannins turn softer, because when the tannins turn softer, and I see, if I have a hotter vintage, the wine turns more approachable to Pinot than when I have a cooler vintage.
Yeah.
And also when I reduce more the quantity, I turn the wines more approachable to Pinot than to Nebbiolo. We can balance between these two with the polyphroc ripeness, or reducing the quantity with two pickings, or because there are hotter climates. But now with warming up, it's more natural.
But, oh, sorry.
Would you like to run us through the vinification?
About vinification, we destem every time, because the tannins, the ash tannins come from the stems, and we do a fermentation of between 5 and 10 days. It depends the time of fermentation, at 25 degrees. This year I did a craziness. I fermented at 20 degrees.
Okay.
Like a white wine. Wow. Because the wine was showing good color. And what happened? The tannins are so soft that you can imagine. Okay, next year I will do the balance between 20 and 25, maybe it will be 22.
But what kind of soils were these Baga grapes?
This Baga, chalky clay soil.
Chalky.
I have Baga, I have planted, I have not at the beginning by heritage, and my father had the Baga on sandy soil,
Yeah.
but this one is from chalky clay soil.
Yes.
The only Baga that I have not on chalky clay soil, that I have on sandy soil, is the pé franco, the engrafted vines.
Yeah.
On sandy soil, because on sandy soil there are no phylloxera problems.
Yeah, they don't like the sandy soils.
Yeah. That was the reason because I planted there on 88.
But this one has spent little time on oak, right? This wine?
This one was kept for 2 years. On after third year, used French oak.
30 years, yeah.
3 years, because usually I keep for Vinhapane and Bairrada for the new one not all as new, but the new one, and after I use for this one. And there are another thing that very important, and Nikita, I am a crazy guy, and this wine, this red wine, was fermented without sulfites.
Okay. And bottled as well without sulfites?
Without sulfites.
Yeah.
It has sulfites, but without sulfites.
And how?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because I have a good hygiene, no problem, stainless steel, all sterilization, even ozone, ozonized water, everything. And so I have no risk. When I put the red wines, the red grapes in fermentation, the first thing that I do is huge oxidation. To do what? To improve the size, the quantity, the amount of yeast. So when there are yeast, when they are growing, they are eating the oxygen in excess. So there are no problems of oxidation. Second, Baga is very tannic, so very antioxidant capacity. Third one, when it starts the fermentation is reductive. Never, if you have problems with, if you put too much sulfur, sometimes you have bad eggs, bad eggs flavor.
Yeah.
And after I follow, when the fermentation finish, I follow the malolactic, because the malolactic happens immediately. I follow the malolactic till then. When finish the malolactic, I do a light filtration, and I add sulfur only once, because I discovered in 2012 that when I started to do a red wine without sulfites, and red wine without sulfites was the same as Vinhas Velhas, just bottled before to go to the casks. And what happened for me? The Vinhas Velhas turn much more flavorful, much more floral. Which was my interpretation. When you use sulfites to sterilize, to disinfect the grapes, these sulfites combines with organic molecules and produce something that you in Sweden know, but here we have Sweden paper companies. And you still smell
Too, yeah.
And that smell is because what they use to extract the lignite is a product based in sulfur, with sulfur products.
Yeah.
And this is my interpretation. And this masks the flavor from the wine. If you add later, there are no combination, of course, but the combination does fade the flavor. But I'm a crazy guy. But I don't, and there are some things that I don't recommend to anyone to do what I do, because this is a risk.
But you're the owner, so.
No, yes, because I am the owner.
For me, this is a really, really, really impressive wine, and especially when you combine it with the price of the wine.
Yeah.
But for me, it's such an intelligent wine, because you can feel the oakiness on the wine, but it's really, really, really well integrated. So for me, it's really the Baga grape that sings in this wine. You have this really lovely red fruitiness, a bit of spiciness, and you have the acidity and the tannin structure. It's there. It's very elegant, and it's very well sculptured. So this is also for me such a nice wine to both drink and also to serve together with food.
Sorry, it was the sun, beautiful sun outside.
Yeah.
I can only agree. For me, it's very much on the roses and on the cherries and on the raspberries, and the tannins are very, very small and elegant, but there are quite a lot of them.
Yes.
So if enjoyed this young, personally, I really love tannins, so that's not a problem, but I think that many would like to match this with some kind of food.
Yeah. How long would you, because you said 4 years is perfect for this wine, for you personally. When do you drink this wine personally? How many years do you keep it?
Now with food now is drinkable. Can do good pairing. 10 years.
10 years.
15 years.
That's really impressive when you know what it's not an expensive wine. It's a very affordable wine.
No, that is the problem. As it is not an expensive wine, the people believe, oh no, it can't age so long time.
Exactly.
Because this is our poorness, the Portuguese poorness. We don't know what we have at home.
No, it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
What?
Now, and there are Nikita, there are another thing that is very important: the alcohol content of the Boss wines.
12.5 for this one,
and 12.5 for the white one.
It's quite low alcohol level.
Now you can drink one glass more.
Exactly.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely.
That's perfect. What kind of Portuguese food would you serve together with the red one?
This we have Portuguese food. I can recommend you the local food from Bairrada. That is a roasted pig. That goes well with this one because it needs this one when it is young. It's funny because there's a lot of pepper, a lot of garlic, a lot of salt, and it's crispy, like a Peking duck.
Yeah.
Like a Peking duck skin. Is good, but is local. But meat. The best. I was forgetting the best. The best is with duck breast.
Duck breast, yeah. I can imagine it.
It's duck with duck.
When I read that the Wine Advocate magazine, they said about this particular wine, it says, if you look up the words food wine in a dictionary, this might be a picture of the example, because
exactly. I agree totally.
It's very food friendly, and it's hard to go wrong basically. And we have a lot of Swedish cuisine that will work perfectly with this too. You have like a nice stew with meat, or just or just eat it as it is, or with pasta, and like really
game would be nice as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go towards the fish though.
No,
I would stick to the white one.
Fish for the white one,
Yeah.
and the meat and the bird, the fowl, the chicken.
Yeah.
And speaking of birds, we must just quickly talk about the fact that you have ducks on all your labels. There's a reason for that, right?
This is our identification.
Yeah. Pato means duck, right?
Pato is duck.
Yeah.
So there are always a duck on the Pato labels.
Yeah. Very nice.
How many Pato families are there in Bairrada, or are you all?
We have a neighbor region. Sorry.
No worries.
We have a neighbor region that is Mondego River. Mondego River is the river that passes on Coimbra, and is very close with us, where it produces a lot of rice, and there are fantastic royal ducks there. It's typical the duck rice. Duck rice is another good companion after this wine. And because really nice. What you need for this wine, you need fattiness.
Yeah.
That has fattiness.
Yeah.
You need some salt, fattiness to be destroyed by the tannins. Salt to balance the acidity, the natural acidity from the wine. Is a secret of this balance.
Yeah. It's also such a nice wine to just drink as it is.
Yeah. But so the other families in the region also get their name Pato from the ducks close to the river, or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So this was really lovely, and time really flies. We've been talking for about 50 minutes now.
Yeah.
So we are maybe about to sum things up, but this has been a very nice experience. We hope to get to Portugal very soon to come visit.
We are waiting for your visit.
Oh, very good.
Which time of the year is the best to come and visit Bairrada, you think?
May, June. July.
May, June. So we have a
July is more difficult because there are too much people in traveling, you know.
So well, we really look forward to come to Portugal, and we also really look forward to invite you here to Sweden to meet the wine club members face to face. But in this pandemic times, this is
yes,
it's a nice way to meet.
Yeah.
And maybe you can tell that one of the Pato wines will be launched at Systembolaget quite soon, right?
Yes, exactly. Vinhas 17 will be launched. Really good wine, also from Bairrada. Amazing.
So look for the duck and the Systembolaget shelves.
Yeah.
And then these two wines are of course in the ordering assortment. They are available now.
Yep.
There are still few bottles left. They really fly off the shelf, so they're quite popular. But well, thank you so much for taking your time on your birthday. We didn't know it was your birthday.
Once we turn off the cameras, Anna will sing for you, and I will
sing. Yeah. For sure.
And once we turn off the cameras, we will also go to Instagram, and we will pick some names out of a hat.
Yeah,
not a hat.
We
out
will.
Of something.
We will do a giveaway of 3 of these Tryffelsvinet bags for those of you who are participating on this tasting. So we will see you on Instagram later. And once again, thank you so much, Luís Pato, for joining us for this tasting.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.